or because their mindset is just so, I won't like to use the word redundant. They do not just want to touch it. It is something they don't want to touch. It is an ugly frog, and nobody is willing to kiss it. But here on Dudu Spray FM, all frogs are equal. So, and that is why we're here to talk about topics that might look ugly, but at the end of the day, they are princes in disguise. So, we are here to talk about the effect of colonialism on Africa as a continent, you understand? So, and today is the part one. Today, I welcome everybody who has joined us on today's show. Especially, I welcome our very own Ajoke Ade. Ajoke Ade, it is a honor to have you on this show, and I'm very happy to have you on this show. I am very happy for this privilege. And I welcome our very own mommy, our Adekemi Adetoye, our biggest mommy, and it is a very big pleasure to have you on this show, ma. It is a honor to have you here. A very big welcome to Saifa Ilerioluwa, our own African, and it is a pleasure to have you on this show. Today, I am your very handsome, honorable Damai, and I'm here to talk about the effects of colonialism, but I am not the one here to talk about it because you are the one here to talk about it. So I want to discuss this and want to share this with the public. I want to open the mindsets of people, I want to switch the mindset. In fact, people know what is right. People are thinking in some directions, but they are avoiding it. But we want to encourage them to think about these things because it is when you think about it that you can change it. And we want people to change it because we, as Dudu Spree, we are moving for change. As Dudu Spree Media House, our goal and objective is to initiate change, positive change in every way we can. And it is a pleasure to do that. Effect of colonialism in Africa, starting with dressing, which is the part one. Most of us now most of us just dress like the whites. They came here with their clothing, and that is what we do. We dress like them. Not just dressing like them, we wear their material. Not just wearing their material, we wear it in their style. We wear it how they want how they want us to wear it, how they taught us to wear it, how they wear it. Some of us even expose our body as much as they do, which is not what Africans do. So, but now, the problem is now we have to look back, because when we look back, we can correct it from behind. We see what has happened before, then we can now understand what is happening and even correct what will happen in the nearest future and control the future. Because if you don't have an understanding of the past, you cannot control the future. So we now understand what has happened in the past, or we are here to understand what has happened in the past. In the past, Africans, we used to dress in our own way. There were even tribes, according to research, there were tribes that don't even dress at all. They don't put on clothes. There are some that only cover their they cover their private areas. They don't make it public. They prevent it from sight, and so on and so forth. But we had many tribes, of course, who are well clothed, very, clothed in large regalia. I'm lucky to be from one of those who have been putting on clothes from time. But now we are now retrogressing one way. Let's say we were not putting on clothes, then we started putting on clothes, but now people are now not putting on clothes again. So what is going on? How can we undo this effect of colonialism? Because without that colonialism, we wouldn't have been exposed to this. Because our mindsets were colonized alongside. We were not just colonized with swords and guns and weapons of war. We were colonized from the mind first. But that colonialism still lingers on even after the chains were dropped. Or did we actually drop the chains? So now we would like to welcome people to speak. I would like to call our first person. Okay, let's start with Saifa Ilerioluwa. So, Mr. Saifa Ilerioluwa, what would you like to say about this? African, the effect of colonialism on Africa, part one, the dressing part. So thank you very much. Let's hear what you have to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much, honorable speaker. I'm very happy to be here today. I welcome you in the name of God and what you all serve, and also in the name of the Spirit. Firstly, talking about how we have been affected by this dress. This dressing goes a very, very long way. If I could remember, I told my friends that I would love it if we can go back to the way it was before, whereby we wear our own native dresses. Because nowadays, you can hardly see a woman, a Nigerian lady to be precise, having reliable buying a wardrobe. No, you see having different types of code, boyfriend, palazzo skirts, even in our own Nigerian organizations, I mean corporate organizations, we'll be told to wear corporate dresses. And I'll be like, wait, is my forefathers' native clothes not corporate? So I think corporate means clothes that you wear that covers your body, all your body, not native clothes, no matter what it is. But now we now define clothes, the corporate clothes as the white clothes. Imagine that man now as is huge, putting on singlet first, then his pants, blowing on with shirt, with another jacket, come putting on suit inside hot sun. You know, I love that. Before we used to have a very special day for our native attire, which is every Friday, whereby no matter the occasion you are in, you put on your native clothes. That is anyone. But now it's not going down. If I could remember when I was in school, my friends were telling me that I will buy abaya, I will buy dalamia. I'm like, wait, abaya and dalamia, they are the native dress of the Saudi Arabians, not we Nigerians. Nowadays, I'm even sure that some people don't even know about some dresses like agbada, ashoke. We have ashoke, we have ashoke, we have dasiki. All these clothes are gone. Why? Even it has even affected in schools also, whereby this dress are giving us a lot of issues. A particular girl, I was telling a girl one day that expressing yourself. And she like, because our forefathers, our mothers, do they wear bra? I'm like, yes, you have a point. They do not wear bra, but at least expose them that not wearing bra because it was not obvious. Imagine you going out and with one, and I'm like, wait, what do you mean? And you're like, that's how this dress is being worn, even in the US. So you're copying them, not your forefathers again. Wow. So I think it's that time we need to go back and look through these polls, like what's really going on. Is it our mindset or what we want to be, or we looking at them? They are copying them and they're not copying us. Wow. I've never seen except from Brazil or from Cuba. All these American men do not put on like that or that city. Cuba or Brazil. But the rest, no. It's because how would they even look okay on them? I'm surprised, Cha. This rest has really gone a very, very long way. If you tell like, if the only time we wear our native clothes in Nigeria is during the parties or few days to Christmas or one kind of celebration, that's when we remember ah ẹja máa ṣọ ẹja máa nkàrà ẹja mú kíní. No, I'm telling my friend that on my sign out, I'll be putting on Agbada. That's what I just used to wear. And you're like, Agbada care. Real, like my Agbada. That's how I go. Like, I don't go to go. Why am I not civilized because of the attire? Does attire qualifies how civilized you are? No. We really need to wake up and read this thing from our mindset. Please. Thank you very much, Daman.
Hey, thank you very much, Sci-Fi Leolua. According to Ajoke Ade will say, yes, shake the table, shake the table. This is a table we need to break. We're going to shake the table, break the table, use the wood from the table to build another table, an African table. So now, this is what we're going to do. You know, Sci-Fi mentioned something. He talked about Brana. Our forefathers didn't. They were very decent people, so they definitely had something else they used. You know, this is now a generation of very confused youth, and very confused youth will produce very confused children, and very confused children will produce a very destabilized society, passing on a legacy of destruction and dispute, continuous destruction and dispute. We trying to be like people we are not, no matter what you do. Oh, sorry. No matter what you do, no matter what you do, no matter what you say, no matter what you wear, no matter how you bleach your skin, you can never be white. You can never be white. So no matter what you do, you can never be a white man. And these people are trying to forge you into being like them. Do you know the funniest thing? You can only try to attempt to be like someone who is superior to you. That means the first thing in trying to copy the whites, you are assuming they are better than you are. You have given them that excellence. You have raised them high. And because of that, you will just try to lean to them. But before we continue, let's welcome Mr. Michael Gedingbe. Mr. Michael Gedingbe, welcome to African Youth Parliament. It's a pleasure to have you here. Today we are discussing the effects of colonialism on Africa. And today we're talking about the dressing aspect. In the areas of dressing, in the areas of putting on school uniforms that is in their own set. In Ghana now, is it in Ghana? I was reading about one school in Ghana, they now put their whole attire to school. They don't use the kind of uniforms that they gave us, Yeah, when you go all on school, they brought school system, not education, of course. But now they want you to dress like them to schools every day. African design material. That is what we wear to school by choice. So these are the things we want to correct. That you don't have to wear what Oyibo wants you to wear. You don't have to dress like Oyibo, and those are the things we're here to correct. So right now, I would like to call on our very own Ajoke Ade. So Ajoke Ade, are you ready? Please let us have you on the mic. Thank you very much.
Okay. Many thanks to everybody, and I am happy to be here today. Of course, it is African Youth Parliament. Today, Salamu alaikum. Anything where they fall for you, they fall for us. You don't tell now. Say this African matter, we must build it, we must fix it. If you miss the reggae shot, please go check it on the YouTube. I did something very, very terrible, and I would love everybody to check it. It is actually a message that is permissive, and you would actually get something beautiful out of it. Dressing. We used to wear our native attires every Sunday, every Friday, until the churches and mosques, they asked us to be wearing jalabia and English. In churches now, you guys wear native attire just once in a month. So that means one native wear is all you need for the whole year. Once in a month, you will just wear it 12 times in a year. So I don't really like going this way, but I would have to say, because this table, we have to break it. The truth of the matter is, see this issue, we have to go through it. Go through it. Enough of us trying to avoid, maybe like trying to go around it, behind it, beside it. This African matter, we would go through it. And beginning with every one of us understanding the fact that we have lost our way as Africans. The white men came for merchandise. The Arabs came for merchandise. When they came, they were merchandising slaves, just like our forefathers were doing. Olele padi oleta, all of them are thieves. So there was no better one. And they were also, we were making Dane guns. We had cutlasses. They brought the better guns. And our forefathers loved the glasses. We had our own mirror too, but we are using it for looking at people's destiny. Àwọn ìyá mi Osaki o. We were using it to turn people's life. We were not using them positively. According to the stories, the myths and legends we met. So I will not blame the white. And I was speaking with Mommy Adekemi before we came on air, and I told her about my current research. I was checking out the poetry of Ifa. If anybody needs the documentation, you can just say hi to me. I will share with you. Honorable Dama gave it to me, but I know you might not have read that. So in going through the poetry, I now understood the Ifa, the way the cult runs. It is a semi-secret society that requires rigorous training and education. It now reminded me of the Greek ways of doing things, that they bring people, separate people, the Socratic, the Plato. So our forefathers were just so organized, so organized. Now here we are. We have lost something. So what do we do? Oh, many thanks. Honorable said he has read it, so thanks so much. So I'm also taking my time to read through. So now, what do? We must go through it. This is not a long matter. If you don't want our race to go into extinction, if we don't want Africa to continue being a second fiddle, today, 30th of April, makes 60 years that the blacks in UK, in London, fought to be on the same bus with a white man. Just 60 years. And there's something we'll be discussing tomorrow morning at the wake-up call. The son of the first black driver in London still experience discrimination till today. Despite doing everything for the UK. Do I dynamic also make my own forefathers tell us? Of course not. The Ethiopians stood against the invasion all over Africa. The only place where they did not, they do themselves the way they want, and they are still doing themselves the way they want it today. They fought with everything, with their hyenas, with their lions, with their beasts, and they repelled. Whereas my own forefathers connived with the external people. So we must go through it. The colonialism effect has affected our worldview, and there's a way we see Africa as hellfire and the European and the Western nation as heaven, because there's everything, and even the Arab countries, because I grew up in Ibadan, and I know the way we say, Opopo Mecca, Omo Roro, Kiniko, Kiniko. Now I knew better because I know about Saudi Arabia now. But then it was just like, when I go to Mecca, I am going to heaven, the Aljana. And now when I go to Europe, go to America, I'm going to Aljana. Do you know how many homes this ideology has destroyed? We can't count. You yourself, you know how many times one uncle we decide not to take you abroad, one sibling is wanting you to force themselves to come up. And this thing has divided and destroyed our fabric. What I'm saying is, if we want to address the dressing, we must address our mindset. We do not think like Africans. We do not eat like Africans. We do not talk like Africans. Definitely, we cannot, we will not, and we may never dress like Africans. So we should start taking, we do not even have companies. Which company could do our clothes? Even the actual, okay, that Mommy Adekemi's picture is displaying was not made in Nigeria, not made in Yoruba land. Let me say, one lè knitted, one lè knitted nílẹ̀ Yorùbá, fine. One lè hun nílẹ̀ Yorùbá, but I put it to her that the yarn was not made in our land, because where is the factory for making it? We don't have. So we are not investing in our land. We are not investing in our product. We cannot grow. We will not wear it. It is more expensive to wear gele now. I'm a cross dresser. I wear agbada, I wear dashiki, I wear raboba. There's nothing I don't wear. I'm a cross dresser. So right now, I was speaking with the person that designed my male attires. I was just like, I want to do this, do that. If you see the bill he gave me, the fabric we will be buying, and I was wondering, it's actually expensive to dress in my way. If we had invested, It is easier and cheaper to buy Shinko cloth, to buy American cloth, to buy British cloth, to buy Bangladesh. Bangladesh way cheaper. So he who dictates the piper, he who plays the piper rather, dictates the tune. If I go to Katangwana in Lagos, I will get cloth 500 naira, Oyinbo full set. Yes, bend and select. Where are our own? Nobody is doing sales. Let those who are even selling come and do sales. They don't make ojo. That's why that they will not do. So the ripple effect, and that's why I say we cannot just take dressing in isolation. We must go through everything. And I am saying it, all of us that we are here, if we open our cameras, I know we are not wearing African attire. So when we are comfort in our comfort zone, we are not wearing it. We don't even have money to buy it. It is expensive. No company is producing it. We have to go extra mile. Do you know how much you spend when you want to do Ìyàwó on the native attire? It's too expensive. And somebody who is a teacher cannot even afford it. So why won't they go for the lace that is cheaper? We need a conscious change. The change that has happened all over the globe were made consciously. They did not wait till Emarojo, Olomaje. We will talk, but we will walk through it. This dressing matter is important, but we must walk through it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Ajoke Ade. It is always a pleasure to hear you speak. In fact, I always anticipate to hear your words, to hear your voice. Yeah, so thank you very much, everybody. Thank you to those listening to us on YouTube, to those watching us right now live on YouTube. We say a very big thank you. We are on African Youth Parliament and we're discussing important things. To those seeing us right now on Twitter, to those on Instagram, to those listening to us live on Dudu FM. Yes, we are your people live on Dudu FM, the first and only Pan-African radio. Yeah, and to those listening to us on our app, through our app, it is a good job. Thank you for being there for us. We'll always be here to speak and you'll always be there to listen. And one day, we will be very happy to have you on this show too with us. Thank you very much, everybody. So, with what Ajoke Ade has said now, this is very true. You know, my brother is having a wedding, by the way, and when my mom told me how much I was spending to just buy the materials, I was like, eh? Like, like, because I was already like, you know, I was in shock. I thought she was joking. So she was like, seriously, that is our material. I was like, yeah, photo, exactly how I felt. So now my mom was not explaining to me that materials are not expensive. And what Ajoke Ade just said, I was like, it's true. This thing is very true. And our materials are expensive, actually, truly. He who pays the piper dictates the tune. So materials are expensive. You have no access to your own indigenous materials. You do not create them yourself. You do not manufacture and produce them yourselves. They dictate the price. They make the price. They inflate the price. The price is very high. You cannot afford it. That means you have to wear what they give you. They are controlling what you wear, whether you like it or not. Just by increasing the price, just by ensuring that you do not produce yourself, they will control what you wear. So whether you like it or not, you wear what they want you to wear. Are you not still in chains? So Africa needs to wake up and break these chains. This chain is no one chain. It is link of chains. It's a link of chains upon chains. You need to cut one layer so that the next layer can break. It will open up and you break it and break another layer. Like coconut, man. Before you can access the juice inside, you need to shell it off, then break another shell. So that is it. Now imagine now the orientation they are giving people on base of designers. You want to wear Gucci, you want to wear Versace, you want to wear this, you want to wear that. And the price they put on these things, people are willing to spend 500,000 on designer. You're wearing this, just an outfit, 500,000 naira. And at the end of the day, I don't know. I'm not saying you should not wear beautiful clothes. Of course. But that money has gone out of your continent, because that material, that designers, anything, that company is not in your it's not on your continent. You are just wasting money. All that money you used to buy a full wardrobe, spending up to 8 million naira in a month. even our senators, our politicians, all the clothes and shoes and everything they are putting on, they are importing it. We barely make our own leather for shoes because it's still part of dressing, of course. Do we make our own leathers for belts? The men, do we make our own, the material they use for our cap? Everything is out of Africa. Even wristwatch, me, maybe I want to share wristwatch. I don't know if they are making wristwatch in this part of the world where I am. So this is what is going on, and we have to examine this matter. And this is where we talk about it, African Youth Parliament. And that is why this place is so important. Another big thanks to this FM once again. So now we're calling on Ojo Inola. Ojo Inola is currently boiling. He's willing, able to talk. So Ojo Inola, then we want our mommy Adekemi to prepare. Then we can now call Mr. Michael and Mr. Kolade because we would not like to exceed our time. So Ojo, you have, oh, and I can see hands up. Okay, please, after Ojo, we'll call the hands. So when, please, let's have.
Thank you very much, Honorable Host, and thank you very much to this Spirit FM, the first and only Pan-African radio. Yeah, Honorable Damai, what you said just now is very right. These white guys decide what we wear. Yes, well, this one is actually due to bad governance. Is it that we don't have people that can create our own materials? Is it that we don't have people that can make our own clothes, our own native clothes here? But they did not support many, they stopped many from producing it. So we have to import clothes from other countries before we can put it on. These guys decide everything we put on. Now, and also now, these effects of colonialism on African dressing, it has gone really, really very far. You know, in schools now, our pupils, our own children here, they put on they put on the white man dress. You want to wed now, according to your own religion, you still put on the white man dress. You're going to work, you put on the white man dress. Everything you want to do. Why? Then we ignored our own native dress. Just like what Ajoki Adi said. Yes, there are some certain churches whereby, as a worker, you must not put on any native dress. You're only permitted to put it on Thanksgiving service. That's every first Sunday. You have to put on the dress of the white people every day. I mean, every Sunday. Only just one Sunday that you are permitted. This is very wrong. Like, very, very wrong. Very, very wrong. And we need to wake up. I used to say this many times. Africa needs to wake up. We really need to wake up. Now, imagine now, African shop, you will see Dubai clothes, you will see American clothes in African shop. We don't even want to sell our own products. If we say we should choose, how many people are selling our own native clothes and how many people are selling their own clothes, those white guys' clothes now? It's those white guys we see. Most people are just selling their own clothes. African shop, we see Dubai clothes. And we Africans, we don't even want to develop our own self. We want to buy clothes, we go to foreign countries, right? You have the money now. You say you don't want to wear your own country clothes again. You want to wear imported clothes. That's all you will do. Instead of you to build your own realm, get whatever you want from your own realm, you rather go to another place to do whatever you want to do. This is very wrong. We need to wake up. Like now, the school I'm teaching now, they want to do something. They call it Cultural Day. My pupils were so excited. They were like, Master, aren't you happy? They want to do Cultural Day. You that you like anything related to culture and tradition. I wasn't even excited because I said, out of 3 terms, first term, second term, third term, we have many days, more than 100 days. We are only celebrating cultural days just once. That is the day. That is the only day the pupils are permitted to put on what? Native clothes. That's the only day they have that chance. But the rest of the days, they put on shirts and what? And knickers. Some use trousers among them. The clothes of the white people every time. Just like that. Even if you want to do normal end of the year party, they cannot put on native clothes. Do you know? It has to be the white man dress. Majority of everyone now, we've even forgotten our own dress. The solution now is we need to remember the son of who we are. Who am I referring to? I'm referring to our forefathers right now. What they do, their attitude, what they do that time is what we call our own culture and our tradition. Their way of life is our own way of life. We need to start practicing it again. We need to go back to the way we are. I said it on our last show that there is a very popular celebrity, all because she wants to swim. She wants swimming suit whereby her breasts, her bum, everything was just outside. And I was like, someone said that, we've really forgotten our culture. Why will a married woman dress like this? And I said, you are very right, ma. It's true. Why will someone dress like this? The married one that has even given birth, all because you want to swim. All because just you want to swim. You will expose your body this much. Do you know how many people insulted me and that woman? online, you were too much. And I started arguing with them a lot that, wait, is it that you guys don't have sense? Just because you want to swim, okay, you now, is it that you can expose your breast, you can expose your private parts, your sensitive parts to this level, all because you want to swim? She said, yes, now. What's that? I was like, case closed. I can't argue with this one again. Since you said you can do that, since this is the way your own parents brought you up, why your own parents did not tell you the type of person you are, who you are, that this, we don't do like this. Now, we don't behave like this. We don't dress like this. This is not part of our culture. But we are adopting another man's culture. But always remember, another man's culture cannot favor us. And another man will not practice our own culture. We do this Spray FM, based on this African Youth Parliament. We did one road show, and we're talking about this dressing. These white people are the one that dress in. You know, there's always cold in their side, cold. They cover their body. But once it's summer, they need to open up, and it's nothing to them. But now, what happened? We are already dressing. Like, you see a woman putting on tights, just tights. Even tights is another way, but we just wait outside. It is very wrong. It is never part of our culture. And I've never seen my own mom or my dad dress anyhow. I'll just put it that way. Because those ones that dress anyhow is because that's what they saw your own parents. But you see a child of 7 years old wearing rubbish when they are teaching her like that. Once she grows up, she wants to teach her own children like that. So we just need to remember the son of who we are. We need to educate people on this. We need to remember everything. These guys are actually trying to play chess with our minds. Mental slavery is actually more powerful than physical slavery. We might be free now, but many people are still under these chains. They are still under these chains. We really need to wake up. Now they made our clothes so expensive to the extent whereby you can't even purchase it. Our own native clothes, they are the one producing our own native clothes. Well, I'm sure Africa will wake up one day. One day. So thank you very much, Dudu Spirit Fame, and thank you very much, honorables, for this chance.
Thank you very much. I didn't know I didn't unmute. I was trying to do that. It's a pleasure to hear you speak, Ojoin Lola. Thank you very much for that insight. You know, these days I just keep wondering what has Africa turned to? Then those of us that are awake now, the woken ones, the ones that are woke, according to the way it said, they look at us as old school. They look at us as they look at us as, what are you saying? What are you doing? You know? So, but that is not, these days, before I dress or before I talk or before I act, I first think, because I'm reading a book on Orisha. The title is Orisha, African Orisha or something. Orisha is the major theme there. I'll check it and I'll even talk about it. So, but now in this book, before I make any decision, I first think, because they said a lot about our own Orishas, I'll first say, will Shango act like this? Will Ogun do what I'm about to do? Or what I just did? If Ogun was in this situation, what would he have done? And I keep doing that, and so far so good though. It has been taking me. I'm not perfect at all. Hey, those who know me, they know I'm not perfect, but I use this and it works for me because the title is The Way of the Orisha. And I keep using this, like, would Ogun have done this? What would Oshun do? What would this one do? What would that do? And that book has been keeping me, and it has been helping me a lot. And I'm feeling like it is time to learn from my ancestors. It is time to do what they did, the positive ones especially, because they made so much impact. My ancestors were not perfect. If they were perfect, I wouldn't be here. You understand? So, but all the good things they did, I will not forget that. I will not adopt the culture of Andaman. So now, I would like to invite, I can see Dudu Spray, your hand is up. That's our own. Okay, so please, let's hear it. And after that, Mommy Adekemi Adetoye are the next. So thank you very much. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, when you were talking about the production of wristwatches in Africa, I was opportune to meet one horologist. In fact, he was the president, the man passed on. The same week I knew about him, he passed on. Someone who makes wristwatches in Yoruba land, Lagos to be precise. You won't even believe it. But the thing was, I did not know. After he died, the whole thing was closed down. And here we are now. I'm still looking for another, because the concept of time is actually, it fascinates me. That's what I wanted to say. that other time that, you made reference to us producing wristwatches. We have the people who can do it, we have the resources, we have everything. But are we ready? It is mental slavery, like
Oh,
Ojo
okay. Thank you
Ilola
very
said.
much. It's
Very much, sir.
oh, okay, man. Thank you very much. It's so sad to hear that the man passed on. May so rest in peace. This is what we actually I've always wanted to understand. Me, I've always been so surprised about how do they know that today is actually Monday? Like in the beginning of time, who started dictating that today is Monday? Who started dictating that okay, we have 24 hours? Who apportioned this time? Why did they decide to put 28 days here, 31 days here, 30 days here? Like, why didn't they just split everything even or almost even? Why did we have just 24 hours? Why can't we have, you know? But science answers some of those questions though. But nonetheless, thank you very much, Ajokade. I really wish I met the man too, though. But I am sure with Dudu Square FM, another person will rise. So if you are there and you can produce, do what you can do here on African soil. Do it. We don't have to wear Rolex. I do not want to wear Rolex. Rolex is expensive, but it still tells time. You can do something and we can always improve on it and make it the best. Who is even telling you that we can make a better clock or a better wristwatch than Rolex? So, but now let's call because of our time. Our fathers used the moon. Yes, the Station of Liberty. It's even on my phone. Yeah, it's on my phone. There was a picture I took this week when I went to Unilag. I didn't want to talk about this though, but then this picture you can see a statue there. The lady is tied, of course, on her face, like her face, she's blindfolded. She's holding a sword and I think a balance, a scale, justice and equity, something like that. That is what it means. And it was very beautiful and what it represented. But let me not talk about that now. But now, Oshukwa, they used the moon and so on and so forth, though, in the concept of time. Hmm. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much, Ajoke Ade. Okay, but now, just because of our time, I would like to call our big mom here. So our mommy Adekemi Adetoye, please, would like to hear you speak. Thank you very much. So after that, Mr. Michael will be.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening.
Good
I
evening,
hope
man.
you've had a good weekend, and we're looking forward to another bank holiday tomorrow, which you call public holiday anyway. Workers' Day, we need to rest. Now, let's talk about our dressing. If I want to talk about dressing, I know we need to go back as a Yoruba person, or according to our tradition, we need to go back to tradition, which I think people are going into these days. It's only that things are becoming too expensive for us to deal with. For me, the cheapest thing to wear is your native attire. If I want to make any clothes, no matter how expensive the material is now, I make it Iru and Buba. I cannot use like 500,000 to buy a material now, and you expect me to waste it because I don't know what I'll look like tomorrow. So anything that is expensive that I buy, I make it Iru and Buba, which is our normal. No matter how I make it, if it's Iru and Buba, anytime, any day, I can put it on. That is mine. I used to be a fashion designer and I make clothes when I was in Nigeria. And when I look at you, I always advise people, I don't believe in you wasting material. Because when you buy material that are too expensive, even when you're looking at the material, it's not worth buying, but you have to buy it. Now, let's leave that scenario. For me, if I say I want to dress like the way we dress in Africa, it's very impossible for me to dress like an African lady abroad because of the weather. I have seen some pastor's wife that comes here and they don't believe in wearing trousers. They don't believe in wearing things that belongs to men. But there is no way you can come abroad that you want to dress like the way you dress at home. I need you to understand that. But if you have gone across the four corners of Africa, you have to change your mode of dressing, which I will not blame people for changing their way and manner of dressing. You don't want to wear skirt in the cold. Before you know it, they've taken your body to Nigeria. You get it. I hope you are getting it, Mr. Damai. But as much as I
Yes,
love us
yes,
wearing, as much as I love us wearing our traditional clothes, as much as I love wearing my traditional clothes, most of my dressing, apart from the clothes I wear to work and sometimes when I want to go to church, I prefer wearing my African clothing. Ajokede said the clothes I'm wearing is not made in Nigeria. I can bet it with you. Ajokede, everything you see me wearing there, it's made in Nigeria. Even the yarn is made in Nigeria. That is how to promote the culture. That is the traditional clothes for wedding. And I purposely choose to use my African material, my Nigerian material. Nothing on me now is imported. Even the beads I was wearing, I made sure it is African traditional, the traditional coral bead, not the, that is me for you. I like dressing African. But for people that are dressed, that are not dressed, I'm not putting the youth of these days. I think the youth of these days is from another generation. I don't know where they came from. Unfortunately, it's the youth here that are condemning the youth. The youth are the problem of our dressing. If I'm lying, tell me. The youth are the sole problem of our dressing these days. I don't know where they get their dressing from, but sometimes when you look at them, you want to. And since they say they have to move with life, there is nothing we can do. But as much as I would advise, I think it's high time we go back to our normal dressing because the dressing of these days is becoming too crazy that we need to start looking into it. Thank you.
thank you very much, ma. Number one, it's a relief to hear that. Number one, it's a relief to hear that we have Nigerian clothes and that are made in Nigeria and that you are even using them. I'm very happy about that.
No,
I'm
I
very
only
happy to hear
wear,
that.
if you see,
So
I
thank
only
you very much.
wear made in Nigeria clothes. I have a lot of
Ah,
Ankara. If I'm going to Nigeria now, I don't go with clothes. I go there to look for the cheap Ankaras to make my agbada. And that's what you see me wear.
wow, awesome. Thank you. Ah, well, and Ma, you said that the youth are the problem. I would agree with that, but also I will beg to differ because if the parents could just have raised a proper child, the child will not be so problematic. Though we now understand that there's the influence on TV, the influence on social media. You feel like, see what my mates are wearing. Is
Can
this
I
what
tell you,
I will not
something?
wear?
I used to
Okay,
I'm very, very particular about this adage that charity begins at home, and train up your child the way you want your child to be, so that when you grow up, you don't depart from it. As much as I don't like to dress like somebody that is like in a cold or something, as much as I like to show my body, not to expose my body, I try to train my children in such a way that you have to be conscious of who you are. It is the way you train your children. You see, when you have a child and you cannot talk to your child, then you have a problem. And after they have gotten to when they have gotten to once a certain age, yes, they have the mind of their own. But sometimes when you train them from the roots, even when they want to dress anyhow, they have to remember the child of who they are. That is one thing. If you don't caution your children from the beginning, then you have a problem. Yes, I, for one, I wear bomb shorts, I wear small tops, but my bomb shorts will depend on where I am. You can't see me come to Nigeria now and wear bomb shorts. They said when you are in Rome, you behave like the Romans. Yes, when I travel, like I go on a cruise or I go on a summer holiday, yes, you don't want to wrap up inside water. But going to Nigeria and dressing like Oyinbo, then you are mad. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma. And this is very interesting. This is now very interesting. I'm glad we brought up this topic. Okay, Mr. Olusegun is out of the show. Okay, Mr. Michael Gedingbe, can you step on the mic now? Like, can you step to the mic now?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being privileged to speak today on your program. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, sir, we can hear you clearly.
Hello?
Please proceed. Yes, we can hear you, sir. Please proceed.
Okay. Thank you. I just want to be assured maybe you can hear me clearly. Concerning what we're discussing on today, concerning the both of our dressing and our culture, I don't want to throw blame in anyone today. I'm just going to encourage us how to improve in our own way, in our culture and our heritage. You understand? Most of our dressing, especially, I don't want to throw blame, but I'm just going to encourage most of the youth, and the header one to just try and make sure to train our youth, our upcoming youth, how you're going to be dressing in our African way. And those grow youth, you need to learn how to make sure you know how to dress in our African way. Like me, when I was in secondary school that year, there's a birthday party when a friend of mine invited me to them. I wear my own akara with native. I put it down with my cap. Everybody was so surprised because I was so different in the midst of many people over there. They are just laughing at me that look at this bushman. He's wearing akara coming to work the party. But I'm proud of it because I'm an African and I'm a Yoruba man. So I'm not ashamed of my own culture and my own heritage. So I'm going to think most of these youth nowadays, they are just trying to promote another man culture, the Western culture, which is not ours, and which is very bad. And the mentality comes from the home, the way their parents brought them up. Like you see some parents, maybe when they are home, wearing bomber shorts, wearing different kind of things. So understand? No, the young one coming on will be looking up to them. Okay, my mommy wear bomber shorts. I like the way she wear bomber shorts. My mommy wear mini skirts, or my mommy wear this one. All these kind of things. I think this week I watched some program online. The way there's a lady. I didn't know the name of it. It's just like a tape like this. They used to tape their breast so it can stand very well in the name of fashion. So all these things, it stands from the parents, call our mom or our dad. So we just need to change the narrative, how to let our youth to know how to dress very well and to promote our culture. That's the main point. We're talking about school uniform. The school uniform aspect is that I'm not going to lie to you. You are boosting their own Western economy. We are not boosting our own economy as in Africa. Because if you look at it, those Western, they are the ones making the dress for us. They came to our land here, sell it for us. And the funny thing is that the materials and the raw material they are using it to make all these uniforms and the dresses, they pick it from Africa, from Yoruba precisely. And they take it down to their own country, refine it to a cloth, and bring it down to us and give it to us, and we still buy it. So all these things, we just need to look after it and know how we're going to do our own thing. If they ask today that, is there any company in Nigeria producing cloth, producing school uniform, in the Africa, in the whole world, Nigeria is the number one country wearing school uniform. If I'm lying, you can cancel me out, or you can prove me wrong. So all these things just need to put in consideration, and how you're going to think, improve in our own culture and improve in who we are. So if I start to be, discussing about this thing, about what the challenge you are facing in Yoruba land today, we won't be able to close this program today. So we just need to advance ourselves, just to know how we're going to improve in ourselves, to who you are. You don't need to wait for the government. You don't need to wait for your brother. You don't need to wait for someone else. We just need to preach the gospel to others, to let them know how they value our culture, our tradition is as an African, as a Yoruba man, precisely. So that's what we need to do. I'm not here to throw a blame to anybody today, but we just need to embrace who we are, so proud of who we are as an African man, as a Yoruba man. And I pray Eledumare is going to help us to achieve that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, my very own Mr. Michael Ogidengbe. That is my brother and my father, just like everybody is my brother and my father and my mother's. So I'm very happy to have you here. God bless you. So this is African Youth Parliament. I'm very happy to have heard everybody speak. In fact, we're having a very hot debate in our chat section, and it is beautiful, man. It is beautiful. It is about our clothing here, our clothing there. So, and we believe that this argument is gonna give us lots of productivity. So now we want to rest this case on the fact that we should promote our indigenous clothing, starting with the production, even with the manufacture, with the branding, with the sewing, with the making, with the cut and cut, everything from top to bottom African. You understand? So even now, taking your Nigerian clothes from here and taking it abroad to wear there, we can create materials that can prevent you from feeling cold there. Our fathers in the time of Harmattan, when there was many more mountains than we have now, when there was many more trees and they would be in the bush, in the forest, and they had ways that they could repel the cold or control the cold. You understand? So I can't say it's Ashoki. I don't know if it's Ashoki. Cypher is here whispering Ashoki to me, but I'm sure they can create a kind of clothing. So, Mr. Michael Genigbe, I'm seeing your hands up. So before we conclude, let's hear what you have to say so we can conclude. Our time is fast.
Thank you so much for calling me again. Concerning the code aspect, I saw someone in the box chat, raise it that maybe people don't find it. No. God give an African man a brain, and we are using the brain in outside Africa, in Western countries, to promote and to boost their own economy. I must tell each one of us today that in the best industrial that is producing a sweater or anything to prevent cold, it's an African man. It's an African country. Even though it's not an African country, go and check it. It's an African, working there as a key person controlling the production and everything. So you have what it takes. You have the brain.
Michael, I won't agree with you. Michael, I won't agree with you in that. Go to Canada. Go and wear what you are wearing in Nigeria and Canada. Then you will know that it is not African man producing cardigan. It is completely different. The code is completely different. You don't compare abroad's code with what we have in Nigeria.
Mama, you are not in Canada. You are not in
Canada. Okay,
so
even when I'm in UK, sometimes we have -6. Do you think there is any clothes I can wear that is the African attire that will take the cold I'm having here?
Yes,
America calculates their cold in Fahrenheit.
I'm not going to agree with you with that. An African man can design it.
An African man can design what we are wearing here.
So,
Then I'm not.
let me
I
tell you,
won't.
ma.
Bra
Let me
Michael,
just bring it to you, ma.
you are not in my
Ma,
shoe. I know what I'm talking about. When I first got to Europe, I don't wear coat. When I first got here, everybody will be saying, how am I coping? How am I coping? When pneumonia started with me, then I know how to go to shop to buy coat. You can't compare what we are wearing in Nigeria. It's Loma Pauluwe, téèyàn bá wọ aṣọ, téèyàn bá wọ nǹkan tó Sherry, you can't even compare. The difference is clear. An African man cannot design what we are wearing here. I beg. I don't agree. I
okay,
don't
ma.
agree.
I won't like us to argue on live program now. We are going to
I
take
think
the
we need
argument
to
to
argue it
YGY.
because I won't agree with you.
We're going to take it to
I am
YGY
the
so you
one
can
that is in
iron
the
it and
shoe.
I can prove you some points you need to know concerning it. I'm serious. So I'm not going to argue on live program now concerning this. So we can take it down to YGY group and argue. So thank you
Okay,
so
well,
much.
I'm ready to argue that. I am ready, and anybody abroad will tell you the difference is clear.
All right, thank you. As the presiding speaker of this parliament. Okay, this is a parliament and we like debate. This is a kind of debate we like to encourage, though. We like it this way. It should be in a manner of debate. So because she knows, I'm sure she knows what she's saying. I'm sure Mr. Michael also knows what he's saying. So, but just a little input from Cypher. Let's hear what you want to say so we can.
Thank you very much, ma. Mommy Adekemi, I support you, ma. This is according to Yoruba, we believe that if you tell you that Emma will Emma Rora, it doesn't mean Emma will learn. No, it means Ewe Sheba Shiniba. Yes, Emma will be a Shinshi, Gele Emma Rora Shiwa. So you can't imagine a woman from Nigeria. That's why you find that she used to be attire and the Yoruba Boba stuff. Then going back to someone else's country, then behaving like the way she's from here. So it's be as if she's odd and to seem somehow. So she has to adapt to the way of their own culture. So imagine you going to you from Ibadan, from Lagos, going to Hausa where they wear their own Boba edition that they are need, and they speak Hausa and you speak Yoruba. How do you cope there? You have to adapt to their own way of life. So I believe she's right by our own saying. And Mr. Mike, I also support you in some way, which is in Nigeria. I'm assuming she's not in abroad, that she's in Nigeria. Like the youth of Nigerians, the way they dress, then you can now say those words, saying that they are not supposed to wear those attire because they are now in Nigeria. Yeah, if you're in Nigeria, I see no reason for you to complain of cold. No, that's not an excuse. Because in Nigeria, we don't have that kind of code. And okay, now, when talking about code of the we're not talking about their weather now. We believe that their weather is very much coldy. But in Hausa, go to North, now see the sun in Sokoto. Now, compare your dress with the sun in Sokoto. Can you just put on the normal short sleeve you wear now and the normal short shorts that you wear and wear that in North, or wear your sweater, wear it in North. Let's see what will happen. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sci-Fi
Sorry, let me just come in to reply my brother.
Okay.
Say a word now. Concerning what you just raised now, I'm going to just give you some points. Let's look about this Asian country, like India. India, you can't say blame the country. They are living in the country and they are doing fine and they are promoting their culture. Okay, during the cold, you still see an Indian man putting on their own gown and with this thing you're talking about, just to prevent cold, understand? So they still dress on their own way to promote their culture, their dresses, and their way of life. Understand? So we don't have an excuse for that. You can see an Indian man, you will still behave and still do normal things supposed to do just to promote his culture, and it's not going to give an excuse for it. You understand? We still have to change all our mindset. because they are doing this, they are doing this. You are talking about, okay, you just finished mentioning about Kano now. If there's an Indian man in Kano, he's still going to behave as an Indian man. There's nothing is going to change it. Or else you tell him to go to his country back. So we just need to have that mindset that, okay, this thing is my own culture. I need to promote it. No matter all, I just need to promote my culture to let the world to know that this is my culture. We are talking, I think yesterday in Sorosoke Hour, we discussed how we embrace our Western region and their way of life and everything. We talk about India, how they embrace the technology aspect and their way of living, and then they treat it away. It doesn't concern them. But now you are still preaching that, okay, you should still embrace the Western region. When we are saying for the Western region, we don't need it anymore. We need to embrace our own. We just need to go back home and go and think and go and know what we need to do. Because the way I'm seeing it, we don't know where, most of us, we don't know our stand. We just need to go back home, think very well. That really means to promote this thing. That really means to change the mindset of some other people. That really means to change the world about my culture, about my heritage, about who I am as a Yoruba man. That's the question we need to ask ourselves now. So that's an assignment to us. By next week, let's bring it up again. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I think we'll have to have a part 2 of this next week. So we'll only on our research and come back here to have a more profound discussion on it. So
Please,
our
I need to
constituents up.
ask Bra Michael something. Bra Michael, why do you wear a shirt and trousers to work? Why didn't you go with native? Or are you going to work every day with your native? Why didn't you dress like an African man to work?
I dress an African man to work.
Every day.
You know what? I'm going to prove you. Not every day, but I still dress an African man to work.
No, but you are still wearing shirt and trousers.
When I'm in the office, I'm going to call you with my native, with my car, with everything.
Do you do it every day? Do you
even my shaman? Let me prove you. Even my shaman dress an African man from Monday to Friday.
That is the kind of work. That is the kind of place you are working. If you are working in a formal office, a professional office, and you are wearing your native clothes to work, then there is something wrong.
Mama Adekemi, my office is a professional, standard international office in office.
And you have to wear native every day.
I didn't wear native every day, but I'm telling you, I wear native to work.
Every day?
Not every day, but I do wear
but
native to work.
Sometimes you wear shirt and trousers, Abi?
Yes, I wear shirt and
trousers. Then you shouldn't have been wearing shirt and trousers then. You shouldn't have been.
It's going to get to that. It's going to get to that. That's what you are preaching to people, and it's going to get to that very soon.
Oh.
You remember when in this Osun state government,
Bra Michael, Abidamai, sorry. Brabe is inside now. I want Brabe to say something because Bra Michael said something before Brabe came in and said, somebody said, Otutu Loma Akpayan, Teyomba Lomura Imura Nigeria. And Bra Michael said, it's a lie that Europe doesn't say you shouldn't wear your cultural wear. You don't do that.
Well, sorry. Can I join the program? I'm so sorry. I don't know where the question.
My brother, Baba, you can join. You can join, sir.
Oh, well, the question I need to ask is
Order. Obey the honorable speaker.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Jokade. This is African Youth Parliament. We are happy that we're having a very lively and entertaining conversation as well. So it is getting heated up, but the most important thing is that we've passed our time. And so now we have one more hand up. Let's answer this question, then we can move on. Thank you very much, Ajokade. Let's hear you speak.
Okay, many thanks to everybody for joining us. I was the one that raised the argument that Ututu Loma Penieku is because I even had a horrible experience as a teenager. One of my brothers left Nigeria and he died in the hotel because he wasn't properly dressed. Ó débẹ̀ ó ṣe bí àwọn tán kò dẹ̀ mọ̀ kò tán nǹkan kan kò ṣe nǹkan kan. His body was brought out the following day. It was terrible, so terrible like that for me. So I don't know about you. Maybe my own is we have become an international being. We are universal, and we should learn to be universal in our mindset. Where I was even going to, Mama they came in that said she's wearing native attire. She's just wearing native design. Because the yarn, I went researching as we were arguing. We only have one company making yarn, and I'm going to actually follow that company up to be sure that they're not actually importing from China again to sell to us, claiming that they are producing. I will check their production cycle. Just one company in Shagamu, Logun State, is the only company doing the manufacturing, the wholesale and the retail supply. That is the one in Ogun State. The next one is in Kano. This is Nigeria. Let's move to other parts of Africa. So we have not really started. We are waking ourselves up. The thing is, if you are in Europe, there's a way they make the garments they wear. I will call the word garment. Any fabric they use to produce their clothes. That is not the same way we produce in Nigeria or Yoruba land or Africa. But then the challenge is, can we as Africans look into the production of African clothing and fabrics that we would be able to wear in Europe, in America, in Canada, in Asia, and even where they have excessive cold. I think that is where we should be thinking and functioning from. It is a market that will be beautiful. I was in front of Unilag and I saw the way they were advertising clothes for me to wear when maybe like the one for winter jackets. All the winter jackets were not made in Nigeria, advertised in front of Unilag in Lagos. These are some of the things that I would talk about, but then our own, let's start producing from our land, wearing what we produce, and then we would also move forward. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much, Ajokade. Thank you. It's a pleasure to hear you speak once more. And I'm glad this is clearing up. So, but finally, just 1 minute, Mommy Adekemi, so that we can round up this meeting and have a
ilẹ̀.